From the time I had first developed my own taste in music, I found that what was popular was not always what was worth listening to. From the boy bands of the early 90s to the auto-tuned voices you hear today, I found myself searching for a genre more personally appealing. And what this led me to find was bluegrass music. I've been listening to bluegrass music for a few years now. I was introduced to it at a young age by my grandparents, but I didn't really start appreciating it till later in life. Over the years, I've explored subgenres of bluegrass, as well as its history, of which it has a vivid one that is both culturally significant and uniquely American. Knowing what bluegrass music is like learning about the practical application of the benefits that come from multiculturalism. This is because bluegrass music is really just an amalgamation of different cultures' music combined into one, and it created a great product. I think it's ironic that the genre is seen as strictly an Appalachian or a Southern or maybe even hick genre when really it was actually pretty progressive, because at the time it took genres that were ethnically homogenous and combined them into something progressive and new. Bluegrass music has a rich cultural and musical history that continues to this day. I'll begin by describing what exactly bluegrass music is, followed by an explanation of its history, and finally, where it is today. Bluegrass music is a genre characterized by acoustic stringed instruments, vocal harmonies with excessively themed lyrics, and a distinct playing style. Bluegrass is traditionally played with 5 instruments: the banjo, the fiddle, which is a violin, the mandolin, which is a small 6-stringed instrument, it looks like a lute, the upright bass, and the guitar. And these consist of, this is the core of what bluegrass music is. The vocal aspect of bluegrass music is sung in a harmony, which basically means everybody is singing at the same time. Traditional bluegrass has the lead singer singing what is described by author George Carney as a high lonesome sound, which is a high-pitched, sometimes dissonant sound. And the subject matter of bluegrass music comes from its rural beginnings, with themes like love, family, rural life, the land. And bluegrass does continue to today with new music, and the themes sort of adapted. For example, there are bluegrass songs written about the scourge of methamphetamine use or prescription drug abuse. Bluegrass music has a distinct playing style that characterizes it as much as its lyrics or its instrumentation. A defining characteristic is the tempo at which it is played, described by author George Carney as folk music in overdrive. So now that we know a little bit about what it is, let me explain how it came to exist. Author Cynthia Miller calls it a truly American art form with connections to string band music, country, jazz, gospel, blues, and the ballads of immigrants. One of the main influences of bluegrass music is string band music, which is what we today think of as like old-timey music. And from this, bluegrass music took the instruments, but not the style. Another genre that was drawn upon heavily was folk music, and from folk music they took the melodies and they incorporated that into bluegrass music. And especially because the first players of bluegrass music were descended from countries like England, Scotland, Ireland, and from there they took these melodies. Another influential genre that bluegrass drew from was African-American gospel and blues music. And bluegrass has this syncopation that wasn't really found in earlier Southern music, and it's really taken from rural African-American music. The author, Cynthia Miller, said in regards to this, the influence of black music and bluegrass sound is significant because it occurred at a time when race divided communities. And though people sometimes think of bluegrass as hick music, it really was pretty progressive for its time. One final influence I'll talk about is jazz. And from jazz music, this idea of you have a bunch of musicians playing together, and each one will take a turn soloing, playing, showcasing their instrument. And according to Neil Rosenberg, who wrote a master's thesis on bluegrass music, like jazz musicians who are expected to have the same ability, it is the instrumental repertoire that is the most important component of the bluegrass sound, demonstrating the virtuosity of the musicians. And this is basically referring to the fact that you have to be proficient at your instrument to be able to play bluegrass well. In addition to the many different styles, one man in particular, Bill Monroe, was influential in the creation of the genre. It is his band's name, the Bluegrass Boys, that the genre got its name. According to Cynthia Miller, some cite the formation of Bill Monroe's band in 1939 as the genre's birth here. So now that we've covered where it came from, let's see where it is today. And bluegrass music still has a place in contemporary society. It has spread nationwide, and you have new bands forming all over the U.S. It's moved away from its roots in the Appalachia and the southern United States. It has been incorporated into academic studies like blues or jazz has in the past, which were initially thought of as colloquial and not necessarily as academic, but in fact it has been studied at the university level. And it's still bluegrass is still relevant for its distinctiveness from country music or folk music, having its own sort of distinct following. For example, there are bluegrass festivals all over the U.S. I found one such festival that attracts upwards of 10,000 people a year in Telluride, Colorado, with its 40th anniversary concert selling out in about 4 hours, according to the website. So as you can see, bluegrass music can still be heard today. Bluegrass has a distinctive sound coming from its unique roots that has led it to remain a popular genre to this day. The sound comes from acoustic instruments played in a style unique to bluegrass. The sound came from a combination of many different styles, like I said, blues, jazz, gospel, folk. And it was this sound, created decades earlier, that has endured as a uniquely American genre popular to this day. And remember, the next time you hear music that maybe sounds foreign to you, just consider that it might have a unique history and it might even be influencing the music you yourself listen to today.